Hi everyone, my name is Brandy and welcome to When Down Syndrome Meets Autism. This is my very first video, and as you might have guessed, I have a child that was born with Down syndrome and later diagnosed with autism. He's 15 years old now. His name is Dale, and he is the most awesome little boy that ever walked the face of this earth. And we're so lucky to be a part of his life. This is our story. I was a young girl in college. I was going to school down on the beach in Texas in Galveston, and at that point I never wanted kids. I did not like children. I thought they were constantly leaking, they were smelly, they were dirty. It just wasn't my thing. And boom, I wound up pregnant. So I kind of warmed up to the idea and decided that I wanted to be a mother. And it was just like my doctor told me, the very first time that you see 2 lines on the pregnancy test, you're a mother. And there's no changing that. And sadly enough, 12 weeks later, I went to have my first ultrasound done and found out there was no heartbeat. And I was completely and totally devastated. So about 6 months later, I got pregnant with Dale. And the pregnancy went fine, aside from having some preeclampsia at the end. And Dell held on to his secret throughout the entire pregnancy. And 2 weeks after he was born, we went to his pediatrician's office for his 2-week checkup and found out that he had Down syndrome. And it was such a shot in the dark for me because I didn't even realize they were testing for Down syndrome. And my husband knew, and he didn't tell me. And it took me a long time to see the beauty in that. I was so angry. I remember telling him whenever we left that appointment that I would never forgive him. But I can look back on it now, 15 years later, and realize that it was kind of a blessing in disguise because I was able to take this beautiful, perfect, wonderful baby home from the hospital and totally and completely fall in love with him. And had I known that they suspected Down syndrome, I probably would have been so nervous and so anxious that I wouldn't have been able to bond with him as strongly as I did. Which, incidentally, his father seemed to have a hard time bonding with him and ended up leaving. Sorry, I had a hair in my mouth. So we ended up getting divorced, and thank goodness for my mother. My mother helped me out so much. I don't know what I would have done without her. I met my current husband whenever Dale was about 2.5, 3 years old. We got married, and just this last summer he adopted Dale. So Dale is officially his son now, which is fantastic. And we've always been a family ever since we met, ever since Kevin and I got married. He always accepted Dale just for what he is and loved him for that. And that was something that my first husband, I think, had a hard time doing. But then again, we were really, really young too. So I just don't think either one of us was ready yet. The Down syndrome, it was hard to deal with in the beginning, but it became easier and easier and easier. The more research I did and the more I found out about it, and the more I realized that life is what you make it. However, Dale started doing some odd things, and we started noticing differences in him and the other kids. And we noticed he wasn't talking. He had these meltdowns where he would self-abuse himself and he would abuse us, and he would just completely melt down. And it's like we weren't even there sometimes. It's like he was completely locked in his own little world. So we ended up at the autism clinic in our state. And it's the autism clinic at the state university, and it's a fantastic clinic, fantastic doctors. And lo and behold, they diagnosed him with autism. That I don't think I was quite ready for yet, because Down syndrome is a little different than autism. The doctors know exactly why it happens, exactly where it comes from. You've got a genome in front of you that you can look at and see the 3rd chromosome on the 21st chromosome. And it's a little easier because you know that it was just generally a random trick of nature basically that happened. And it's something that just happens. With autism, nobody knows where it comes from. Nobody knows why it happens. Nobody knows really what it is. And it's really easy to blame yourself. It's really easy to look back over the last however many years of your child's life and say, well, maybe it was because of that ear infection. Maybe it was because he fell that time. Maybe it was because I wasn't a good enough parent. Could I have done something different? And that is something that haunts your sleep every night. And you wonder, what if I would have changed one little action? Would that have changed the outcome? Would he not have autism? And even now, Dale's been diagnosed since he was about 6 years old. I still have issues with that even now. And I know that I'm a good parent, and I know that I love my child, but I just wonder if I would have been a better parent, would he still be autistic? And, you know, logically in your head, you say it doesn't matter, but it's still something that haunts you. So Down syndrome was a little bit easier to deal with than autism. I have to be honest when that comes down to it. But I will admit our doctors were fantastic. Our support team was fantastic. They got Dale started on a medication called risperidone, which is not without risks, but Dale didn't have any of the side effects, and it seemed like it opened that gap just enough to where we could get in there and help him. And it was amazing. It was like I had my little boy back. He started looking me in the eye again. He started trying to communicate again. He started sleeping through the night again. He quit having those terrible meltdowns. He would get really upset before we started the medicine, and he would hit himself in the head, which granted the risperidone, it's not a cure-all. It has to be tweaked, and some other medications had to be brought into play with it eventually, but it really seemed to help everything. And then a little bit later on in Dale's life, we brought in a service coordinator. And her main job was to help us find resources and help us find programs and activities and things that were appropriate for Dale that would basically integrate him into the community a little bit better and give him the best life he could possibly get. And that's my best piece of advice for anybody that has a child that has any kind of a disability, is get a service coordinator, because I can't tell you how many things are out there that I just found out about. And there are so many things that I wish I would have said, years ago that we needed, or I wish I would have known about years ago. It's amazing how many things are available and how much help there really is out there. And I will admit, I'm one of those people that I wanted to try to do everything on my own. I did not want to ask for help, especially from people I didn't know. And that is one thing that I've had to realize, that so many of these programs have been enacted for this reason, to help children like Dale. And it's been so much appreciated that we have that available. And I'll do a video later on of some of the things that we found and some of the programs and people that we've been linked up with, and also some of the things that we've been able to get that have made our lives so much easier. I mean, so much easier. And it's just amazing the things that are available to help kids like Dale now. I'm so thankful for that. So now Dale is 15 years old. He attends a school in our town that is specifically for children that have disabilities. And I think mainstreaming is absolutely fantastic. I think it helps not only the child that has a developmental delay, but also the average child, because everybody gets to know everybody else and nothing's off limits. And nothing is weird for anybody. And the kids aren't scared of each other. But that being said, some children do not do very well being mainstreamed. And Dale was one of those. He needed a small classroom setting. And he needed it very quiet, very structured. And that was something that our local school district just could not give him. So we ended up in this specialized school, which has been absolutely amazing because not only do they work on academics, they also work on all different kinds of physical issues, occupational issues, speech issues. They even have a classroom set up like a little apartment where they teach the kids to vacuum, do dishes, make beds, because quite frankly, a lot of the kids are not home with their parents anymore. A lot of the kids have been sent to live in co-ops or group homes or independent homes, and they don't have that constant one-on-one interaction with their parents. So a lot of the kids need that facility. And Dale, we've always made it a point to work on whatever they're working on in school, and that way he gets it both ways. And it really helps all the way around. So it just helps reinforce everything that we're working with him. And it makes everything so much better. And he really needed that facility. And I'm so thankful that it was available for him. That has been one of the best things that we've done for him. Other than that, he's also been involved in a lot of different programs that help him learn to function with his peers and help him learn to do things that other kids do his age. And I can remember whenever Dale was really young, I can remember before I had fully accepted everything being so sad because I was so afraid Dale wasn't going to get those experiences that I got. He wasn't going to go to prom. He wasn't going to go to graduation. He wasn't going to get to go hang out with his friends. And that couldn't be further from the truth. This last weekend, Dale went to one of our local baseball games and had a ball with all of his friends. And, excuse me, there's a prom coming up in a few weeks that he's going to go to. And I can't tell you how amazing it's going to feel to watch him get dressed up and take pictures of him going out the door. That's something that I waited so long to see. That is just going to be absolutely amazing. And I can tell you this, everything that child accomplishes, every new thing he does, every new day he wakes up, I am so proud to be his mother, and I am so proud of him, and I am so thankful that he's mine. And I feel thankful that when he wakes up every day, he has this big smile on his face, and he's so happy to see me, and all he wants is a hug. And that is true unconditional love. There's no price set on it. There's no limit set on it. It's just boundless, endless, limitless love. And that's what being a parent is really all about. And even though today my life is different than I ever expected it to be when I was younger, I'm so thankful that I have it because it's the perfect life for me. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you like it, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel because there's a lot more content coming. I really wanted to do this channel because I wanted to connect with other parents because I think it's so amazing for us to share ideas with each other. Even for something as small as a bib. So I can put a bib over Dale's head and make it to where he's not messy when we go out to eat. Or something big enough, trying to find a bed that he can't escape from. Or trying to improve our home to make life easier for him. There's so many little tricks and each person has a different one. And if we all share them with each other, then we can all help each other and make our lives a little bit easier. To where once it's all said and done, our lives are a whole lot easier. And that is amazing in and of itself. Not only that, I know I have a lot of tips and tricks on how to get ready really easy and get out of the house without frightening people, and how to shop easier, how to go on date night without Dale being upset. Just all kinds of little things that I've learned throughout this journey that I'm sure all of you have learned too. And not only that, it's nice to connect with other families that have kids that don't have disabilities. And that way, we can all work together because that's our goal in this. We're all in this together. We're all on this planet together. why not figure out and take tips and tricks from each other? So if you like this video, click like, please subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Thank you so much for stopping by. Have a wonderful day.